It has been just over a month since Hurricane Maria slammed the Commonwealth of Puerto Rico, leaving destruction in her wake. Drinking water still in short supply across much of the island, and roughly half of the residents continue to survive without power, enduring the longest blackout in the history of our nation. While the federal government has been criticized for not mounting an effective relief effort, New York State, led by Governor Cuomo, Congresswoman Nydia Velázquez, and Assemblyman Marcos Crespo, have been steadily involved in Puerto Rico's recovery process in many ways, including supplying material and hundreds of highly trained professionals to provide assistance in many forms, healthcare, power restoration among them. Assemblyman Marcos Crespo joins us now so we can talk about all of this. It's nice to have you back here with us.
Great to be here.
You were there literally within days of the hurricane striking, and you just came back from a most recent trip this past Monday. What are you seeing that's changed at all?
The first flight we were there, we saw complete and utter destruction. I mean, we were seeing the flooded communities. We were seeing people kayaking to their neighbors to figure out if they were okay. And this time around, unfortunately, still a lot of destruction, still a lot of debris, still a lot of infrastructure that needs to be repaired immediately. Power lines down. Trees in the middle of roadways. I mean, there's still a significant amount of work that needs to be done, particularly in the out-of-town communities and the more rural areas of Puerto Rico, where a significant portion of the population live. The fact that they don't have power and running water is still leaving families to fend for themselves and in desperate need of assistance and a coordinated effort to get their infrastructure back up and running. And one of the criticisms of the federal government has been that they have provided very limited resources. Even while they've been there, the response has been minimal compared to what the federal government has done in other communities.
Tell me about the efforts now, the combined efforts of the New York State authorities that we mentioned.
It's been incredible. Let me tell you, we were on that first flight thanks to Governor Cuomo and Congresswoman Velázquez and the Power Authority and many in the National Guard. We went out there. That was the first flight that arrived with donations and personnel ready and willing to assist in the restoration of power immediately.
Why do you think New York has felt the pain of Puerto Rico and has been so actively engaged in trying to help?
Well, look, New York has such an incredible history along with Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico's biggest migration in its past was in the 40s and 50s, and many of those families arrived here in New York. You have communities like the Bronx and East Harlem and so many others. Now we're seeing the second largest, if not at the end of this process, maybe the largest in history of people forced to leave. Between the economic crisis and this storm, hundreds of thousands of people have already left, and many more are waiting in airports, trying to get desperately out in order to make sure that their families are safe. Everybody in New York State has responded. Colleagues on both sides of the aisle in every part of the state collecting donations, offering assistance, offering to house families that are now homeless because of this situation. And I think also because we've seen tragedy here between 9/11 and Sandy and other floods that have happened in upstate New York. We have seen when we have been in need, communities, even Puerto Rico, sending aid. And it was our turn to help back.
You know, you've seen exactly what the people are struggling with. What should we be doing as a federal government? What would your answer be?
Well, right now, I will tell you that I've been incredibly impressed with Governor Rosselló and the effort that his administration, the plans that they put forward. They have a vision to take advantage of this opportunity. Because even in crisis, there's opportunity to rebuild the infrastructure of Puerto Rico for the future, not just getting the grid back up and running, an old grid that cannot
getting
sustain,
something more to replace something better to
replace it the right way, using new technologies, using renewable energy, making sure that Puerto Rico has the resources to invest in communities. Unlike what we're seeing today, where FEMA is on the ground, offering families to fill out online questionnaires. They don't have internet service. They don't have power. They can't do that. And even if they do fill one out, they're being offered a loan. These families are struggling economically and just lost everything. And the best you can do is offer them a loan. I think we need to do a lot better than that. We need to rebuild these communities. And if we don't do it fast, many more families will leave to the States. Many more families will be, they're American citizens that will be eligible to vote. They'll be eligible for resources. This is going to cost different states an investment in their own budgets. And we're going to decimate the population of Puerto Rico to the point that they will not have the skill set and the individuals needed to rebuild their economy. So it's a downward spiral unless we put an aggressive stop to it and we allow these families the resources to rebuild quickly, to make investments, to create jobs on site, not bringing companies from abroad. but allowing those resources to be used for Puerto Rico-centric companies that can use that investment to spur the economy. And we need to give Puerto Rico flexibility. So it's not just the federal aid that Governor Rocio has already asked for. We need that desperately. It should come with no strings attached, separate and apart from anything to do with the debt discussion. And I also think that the federal government needs to look at restrictions like the Jones Act, reforms to the Jones Act, and other regulations that allow, and tax credits that allow companies to come back to Puerto Rico and create jobs. If we don't do that, we might as well tell 3.5 million Americans that they are on their own and that we don't care what happens to them, because that's essentially what we've done in the past, and we cannot allow that to continue to be the policy for the future.
Well, as you said, hopefully there'll be something positive coming out of the chaos and the wreckage of this. Assemblyman Marcos Crespo, I want to thank you and your colleagues for all of the work you've done and for spending some time with us. We'll check back in with you soon, and we'll see what sort of progress hopefully is being made down there.
Thank you.
Thank you again. It was good to talk to you. And with people in Puerto Rico still suffering and the Trump administration under fire for its recovery efforts, what do you think the federal response should be? I want to hear from you. I want to hear what you have to say. So tell us at facebook.com/MetroFocus.